direction of
Yeah.
Jeb or...
Yeah, I mean, interestingly, as far as that is concerned, the Donald Trump and Ben Carson are not on the board. They don't have one endorsement. So that's actually a good thing, you know. To say I don't want the Congress to get behind Donald Trump, you know.
I don't know. He's got some good ideas.
Oh, do tell.
Well, I think, what's he want to do? He wants to, there has to be some kind of like...
build a wall.
Build a wall.
Make Mexico pay for it.
Yeah. And now he's really come up with some groundbreaking ideas on how to...
keep track of Muslims?
Control and categorize Muslims. And
now he's saying, well, I didn't really say that. I was just answering the question. It's like... Yeah, that's how that works. When somebody asks you a question and you answer it, that's considered something you believe, you know. So, he is horrible. And
it's just it's astounding to me that we have people that are running for president that get away with saying that things like I mean the one thing that Trump said is he said something, and I'm from Iowa, but he said something about Iowa voters being stupid. Right?
Yeah.
And voters are stupid. Like the fact that any of these people and that the media gives them some kind of credence by reporting on them and like they're actually could be in charge of this country.
Yeah, it feels like pretty much all of the candidates on the Republican side have said something that's like, oh, wait a second, that's not something that George Herbert Walker Bush ever would have said.
Right.
You know, they are classless.
Or Ronald Reagan, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I just...
who's somebody that I think you despise?
Well, I mean, I served under him.
Sure.
So I don't, I'm a little close to that situation, so maybe that's...
Were you
but I prefer the new Reagan,
the
Barack Obama.
Yeah, well,
Reagan.
Me too.
I was talking to my 9-year-old son today. We were talking about the upcoming presidential elections, and he asked me if Obama was going to be running again. I'm like, nah, he served his 2 terms. He's like, he can't be president again. Like, he was really kind of disappointed.
All right. I like your son even more.
Yeah, because he's like, what about all that free stuff I was going to get, Dad? When can I start taking advantage of that? And so, yeah.
And then you kicked your son off your health care.
No, I am suckling at the teat right now.
Yeah. You have Obamacare.
I have Obamacare.
Yeah. Well,
So.
I work for a company that has made money off of Obamacare, at least in theory. We had more customers, but so the reason the Trump thing came up is a big event we haven't mentioned, which is a little terrorist attack in Paris. Killed how many killed ultimately?
He was
over
129.
Yeah,
it was
129. And France is going forth with their plan to take in 30,000 refugees in the next 2 years. Obviously, they've already taken in refugees. We've taken in a few before this event. And just the other day, we had a vote. Congress voted to make it just a little bit more difficult for these refugees to come in. It's already an 18-month to 2-year process.
Yeah.
You basically have to present all of the records for your life, meaning, if you have a driver's license, birth certificates, every record that you can possibly produce. You are interviewed multiple times over the course of many months. Everything has to check out. And then, after about 2 years of that, you can come to the United States, provided you don't seem to be a threat.
It's a little much, don't you think?
Not enough, apparently. Oh, you think it's a little much?
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of red tape, and we are the country that was built on, but albeit selective immigration.
Right. Yeah, we didn't force this upon ourselves. When the Germans and the Italians and the French and whatever.
Yeah.
When the English first set or the Spanish, there was no 2 years of paperwork. But and there have been no terrorist attacks by refugees in the United States.
Yet,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's just not the way you get into the country. If you're planning something, you can just come in a tourist visa.
Oh, great, Jim. Give them an idea. Why don't you just map it out? Post it on our website.
And most of the terrorists that have attacked have either come in on something like that, a temporary visa, or they're homegrown. In some cases, disenfranchised youth that get recruited. This is if they're Muslim. If they're not Muslim, some other nut jobs.
Well, and I think we prefer, if there's going to be terrorists in the U.S. and terrorist cells, I think we'd much prefer that they be Saudis, right? We want terrorists from a friendly.
Yes, we want them to have a close connection to the Bush family.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we want our friends that don't promote human rights.
Right.
Yeah. Then you're in.
Okay.
But I think that the whole immigration system is it's too paperwork intensive. We should do like Jeb said, make sure they're Christian.
Right. Sure. Make sure the Muslims that
as was written in our Constitution.
Right.
And then but let's modernize it a little. We should have like a singing contest. And we bring them in and we have little groups, and then the best singers come on through.
I like it.
Because you know what? Even if you were a terrorist, if you can sing your ass off, once you get here and you're making money and people adore you, you don't have time to blow anything up.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe this could be a reality show. Of
course.
Refugees Got Talent.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now they have the attack. We've had this crazy reaction where we're trying to make it more difficult for people fleeing, not people just want to come here.
Yeah,
but
it's
people
just backwards.
Fleeing.
It is completely backwards.
So pretty tough times.
So how do we stop it?
How do we stop this craziness?
Yeah.
I've got a 3-part plan.
Yeah.
Because generally, there's 3 things I think that help make a person a little bit more liberal. Number 1, travel. Mark Twain had a quote about it. I don't have it on the tip of my tongue, but basically, travel makes you less prejudiced, less bigoted, because you have to interact with people from other places and who think differently. And if you don't travel, then everything in your little world seems right, and everything outside of it is wrong. So if you look at the states with the lowest number of passport holders, they're all strictly red. And it just makes sense. When you don't leave Mississippi, you don't think about, maybe they've got some good ideas someplace else. So travel. So I think we need to get more people with passports. And of course that's an elitist, it's an expensive thing to travel. But if you're spending $700 on a TV, you can spend $700 to fly to Europe for a week. I'm just saying. All right? That's 1. 2, big city living. Living in a city forces you to become more liberal. You just can't hate. You have to figure out why the fuck this guy upstairs is cooking this weird shit or whatever. And you have to learn to get along with those people.
No, because it's a lot easier to hate people when you're not living amongst them.
Absolutely.
Right? So when you're isolated from them, and it's just a concept, or it's just a color, or it's a religion, easier to categorize and hate versus your neighbor.
And it's not that just that liberal people move to cities. It's moving to cities makes people more liberal. And
because that's where they're giving away all the free stuff.
Exactly. And you had an example of this, liberal stuff. Oh, were you going to give examples of free stuff they give away?
No. Okay. The free stuff. The free stuff the government gives you, like cheese and TVs. And cell phones.
Absolutely, I got my Obama phone
and abortions. That's like,
yes. So Utah Utah is the Mormon Church, and Utah is as Republican as you can get. They're like 90. Mormons are about 90%.
Pretty red.
90% Republican. Salt Lake City, though, which is filled with people who came from the Mormon Church, just elected an open lesbian mayor. Is that not a little bit crazy? That's city living. Going, you know what? And now that I know these two lesbians down the hall, they seem like all right.
Yeah.
You know? Whereas if... I
didn't know that, but I have been living under a rock.
Yeah, well...
Near a cave.
Yeah. Even when Bush was running in 2004, he came in again. He won re-election, and a lot of it was about how tough he was on terrorism, and who had the most, who paid the most in the bill of terrorism, the people who lived in New York City, in Manhattan, and 74% of them voted for John Kerry. So living in that city, so that's what's happening.
Yeah.
We're having the same thing happen now, which is these red states, and particularly people in rural areas in these red states who are afraid that somebody from Syria is going to blow up their local school.
Not just somebody, but a kid.
Yeah.
But more than likely, it's going to be a child and a mother.
Yeah.
Because they work in teams like that.
Yes.
And
it's like they don't care about your Podunk Community Center. They want big. They're going to strike in New York before they're going to strike in rural Kentucky. It's just not going to happen.
Which is a shame.
Well, we can talk to those children.
Yeah.
It also fits in with when Chris Christie said he wouldn't let in a 5-year-old. He would not let in a 5-year-old orphan. And it kind of fits with what they already think about Obama. Because Obama didn't talk to his dad basically after he was 2 years old until... He spent about a month with him when he was like 10. But somehow they think that he was converted to be a secret Muslim with an agenda to destroy the United States as a 2-year-old. So, of course, you'd fear a 5-year-old. I mean, imagine if you can convert a 2-year-old to your plot, what can you do with a 5-year-old?
Okay, but just plain devil's advocate.
Yes.
What if they're right?
They might be. They might be.
I mean, I understand everything you're saying about... your lefty, liberal, where every city will be governed by a lesbian mayor. And
I'm not going to be happy until we have only lesbian mayors.
But it's, is that going to make things better? Like I think we're predisposed to think progressive, values are the way to go. And maybe we should try the other way. I mean, just for a little while. Why can't we give hate and ignorance just a chance? Because one of the theories on economics for Republicans, which hasn't really worked, is the trickle down theory.
Right.
And I know how that works now because I'm a corporation.
Oh, yeah,
now I'm
right.
a corporation.
Yeah, since you left us, you've become a corporation.
Yeah, and it's not really going to trickle down. I mean, It sounds good, and look, but the thing that does trickle down is hate and fear, right? So this whole thing about we should fear immigrants and
it works,
Muslims,
it works,
and it does, and Muslims are getting death threats, and this is the country that it's written in our Constitution. Freedom of religion.
Freedom of religion, yeah.
Like how easily we can toss that part of the Constitution out. But maybe they're right. Maybe we need to just give it a chance. Just hate people that are different than you. Just for a year. Just try it.
All right. Yeah, I mean, it's something to consider for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just thinking outside the box.
Right.
That's all.
Have you been reading about?
I don't read.
Okay,
but maybe go. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
you put me on the spot with the reading thing.
I won't quiz you, but I want to talk to you about the MS St. Louis.
Is that a boat?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the boat that tried to first go to Cuba, and then went to Florida with Jews mainly from Germany.
Was this like World War II stuff?
This is World War II, yeah.
Okay.
It's like 39 or 37. I'm not sure exactly.
Okay.
And I don't think it was in the 40s yet. Anyway, they were turned back. They were turned back. And the reason was that we had changed our immigration laws in about 1924, and